Tensions are growing along NATO's eastern flank as Russia and Belarus launch joint military drills. The exercises involve warships in the Baltic and Barents Seas, with up to 30,000 ground troops on the move. Moscow's described the drills as a practice run for repelling a foreign invasion. But Poland isn't buying it. Officials there say the maneuvers look more like a rehearsal for offensive action directed at them. Western analysts point to similar drills in 2021, which preceded Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. This year's exercises are smaller, but the message, according to NATO, is clear. And NATO is also moving military assets closer to its eastern border after a Russian drone incursion into Poland. On Friday, dozens of UN members expressed grave concern over that incident, which Poland says was meant to test NATO's reaction. The Alliance's Secretary General says its new move is meant to send a message that NATO is ready to defend itself.
NATO are saying this will start initially with a focus on Poland. They are outlining some of the assets involved, which include two F-16s from Denmark and an anti-air frigate, 3 Rafale jets from France, and 4 Eurofighters from Germany. The UK also part of this as well. Now, we also know that Poland is putting in a kind of restriction on their airspace on that eastern border that runs alongside Belarus and Ukraine, from which we know over 20 drones would have flown. And NATO says that this Operation Eastern Sentry, modelled, they say, on Baltic Sentry, which was put in place after alleged sabotage of undersea cables in the Baltic Sea by those close to Russia. This is essentially an extension of that. Now, I should point out that this original incursion of drones was in fact tackled by a combination of Polish F-16s and Dutch F-35 jets. So there are a lot of NATO assets already on standby in this particularly sensitive area to tackle the incursions that have been there in the past. Remember, this is not the first time that we have seen Russian aircraft make incursions or fly close to NATO airspace, but it is the first time we've seen something of this magnitude that has been shot down. More details we're learning, Issa, though, about that incursion involve it being 21 separate drones they believe were launched initially from Russia. I understand that you can adapt some of the drones being used here. The Gerber Shahid type drone can fly further with a bigger fuel tank if you don't put explosives in it. And we understand that some of the drone debris found doesn't suggest necessarily they were carrying explosives. But the outcome of this now is a lot of questions about whether this was an intentional Russian move. Now, we've heard from President Trump saying that, it could have been a mistake, I quoted, but regardless, I'm not happy about having anything to do with that whole situation.